I will not! Purge the city! Uther! Not because I lack the will, but because they are still my people!
It began not with a scream, but with a sigh. On the road to Stratholme, under a sky bruised purple by the plague, the Prince of Lordaeron stood trembling. The grain was distributed. The infection was already in their bellies. In our history, Arthas looks at Uther the Lightbringer and sees a traitor. But here, he looks at Uther and sees a father. He looks at Jaina Proudmoore and sees the only light left in a darkening world. The rage within him, that frantic, desperate need to control the outcome, wavered. The weight of light's vengeance lowered. Seal the city, Arthas whispered. His voice was not the boom of a conqueror, but the rasp of a desperate boy. If we cannot purge the sickness, we must contain it. Yuhuan enters, Yuhuan leaves. By might, we lay siege to our own people. The massive gates of Stratholme slammed shut, locking with a finality that echoed like a tombstone falling into place. The Knights of the Silver Hand did not draw their blades against their prince. Instead, they drew their shovels. They dug trenches. They erected barricades.
The first week was the Siege of Silence! The quarantine was absolute! Uther, re-energized by the preservation of his honor, organized the blockade with impeccable efficiency.
Jaina wove a net of arcane wards around the city walls. A shimmering violet dome intended to stop the plague mist from drifting into the countryside. But a siege is a weapon designed to starve an enemy out. Here, the enemy did not need food. The enemy was the food. Inside the walls, the grain took hold. It started slowly. From the camps outside, the soldiers of Lordaeron could see the smoke rising from the chimneys. It looked peaceful. It looked normal. But as the sun dipped below the horizon on the third day, the sounds began. Shouts in the marketplace. The shattering of glass. The frantic ringing of the chapel bells. Arthas paced in his command tent, the mud of the encampment caking his sabatons. He refused to sleep. He stood by the blockade, staring at the stone walls. He could hear them. His Peopli.
We should go in, he would mutter, his knuckles white as he gripped the hilt of his hammer. We should help them.
We cannot, lad, Uther would say. To enter is to become infected. We must wait for the apothecaries. We must trust in the light to burn the sickness away.
But the light did not come. The darkness did. By the second week, the human sound ceased. The shouting and the bells were replaced by a cacophony. Guttural moans that rose from the city like heat from a pavement. At night, the soldiers on watch would report seeing shapes on the ramparts. Not guards, shambling things. Things that moved with a jerky, broken rhythm. The psychological toll on the army was immediate and devastating. These men were paladins and footmen, sworn to protect the weak. They were not prepared to stand idle while a city of 25,000 souls was digested from the inside out. They were jailers of a graveyard. They listened to women screaming for their children, and then the screams turning into gurgling roars. They listened to the banging on the great iron gates from the inside fists, pounding against the metal until the pounding stopped, replaced by the scratching of bone against iron. Arthas stopped speaking to Jaina. He stopped eating. He merely stood at the gate, listening. The mercy he had shown was torturing him.
Every scream was an accusation! You could have ended this quickly! The wind seemed to whisper. You could have given them a clean death!
Then came the new moon, and with it, the Lord of the Dread, Malgo.
He appeared on the ramparts of Stratholme just before dawn. He did not attack. He simply stood there, flanked by what used to be the city council.
Arthas rode out to the quarantine line. Malganis, face me! Down and die!
The Dreadlord's laughter was like grinding suffer every second of their transformation. Your paladin speaks of the light's mercy. Tell me, little prince, do you hear the gratitude in their screams? You did not save them. You merely locked them in the dark with me.
With a flick of his wrist, Malgoni shoved a turned woman off the wall. She hit the ground with a sickening crunch. The morale of the Lordaeron army shattered. They weren't fighting a war. They were watching a slow-motion execution. Soldiers began to desert under the cover of darkness. They couldn't handle the waiting. They couldn't handle the knowledge that their families inside were monsters. Uther tried to maintain order, but his words rang hollow against the scratching sounds coming from the other side of the wall. The barrier of the Silver Hand began to fracture not from the Scourge, but from doubt. And Arthas retreated to his tent. He looked at his hammer. He looked at the map of his kingdom. The seed of doubt that Malgonis had planted that mercy was weakness began to germinate in the fertile soil of his guilt. He realized then that Uther was wrong. The light could not scrub this stain out. The light was passive. The light watched.
If he wanted to end the screaming, he would need something that didn't just heal. He would need something that could cut.
The siege continued. The rain continued. And inside the walls of Stratholme, the Scourge grew strong, fed by the very compassion that was meant to stop it.